Over the last 7 years, I don't think anybody in the entire world has obsessed about Brisbane as hard as you and I have. We've bought more than $360 million worth of property down there. So this video is our forecast for some of the better suburbs for 2023 and beyond, because we know many of you guys are going to be out there and not just holding a property for 1 year, but holding it at least till the Olympic Games or hopefully beyond.
And I'm excited to talk about some different areas and some different budgets as well. We'll talk closer to the city, a little bit higher price point. We'll go North Brisbane. We'll talk about some of those Bayside suburbs as well, and also down in the south and the southwestern regions of Brisbane. You know, we've got price points varying from about $500,000 all the way up to $1 million here. So why don't we kick it off with the city side options there?
Yeah, so one of my favourite suburbs, in fact, when I stopped buying Sydney and started to really look at Brizzy, this was the first suburb I loved on paper, and it is Arana Hills.
Oh, yeah.
So 10 Ks as the crow flies from the city, very, very, very high average income area, way more than $100,000 a year. Vacancy rates the lowest on the planet. You just cannot find quality rental property in the area. And what I love is the suburb is going through and will go through up until the Olympics monster gentrification. We're talking houses that can sell for $750K, and then in the same street, a nicer home selling for 1.3 to 1.5 mil right now. One of the things that I love about it is the demand is through the roof, and that has been constant for the last 7 years, right? It is always a place that families want to buy to raise their kids and send their kids through the schools in that area. The last thing I love about Arana Hills is it's close to a suburb that we've bought a lot of called Wavell Heights. Now, Wavell Heights at the start of COVID, a brand new home was selling for about 1.2 mil. Now some of these brand new homes, which are 2Ks closer to the city than Arana Hills, are selling for as much as $3 million right now. So I think that wave is going to continue to wash through this part of the city over the next 15 years. It's a real long-term winner.
Now, one of my favourites is a little bit of a diamond in the rough. It's a little bit of a opportunity for the future. Now, you know, some people might not love this suburb because it does have a little bit of a stigma about it. It does have a little bit of a history of higher crime rates and lower socioeconomic demographics, but those things are changing. And this is a suburb down in South Brisbane called Crestmead. Now, the average house price is roughly around $420,000 as of today, but realistically, you're not going to find a great property at that price. We believe that you've got to stretch that budget up to about $500,000 to find a decent property. Now, the vacancy rates are incredibly low right now, sitting below 1% at 0.78 right now, and it's only 25 kilometres to the CBD. And what I love about that is if you compare this suburb to areas down in South Sydney that are the similar distance from the city, they're 50% of the price. What I love about Crestmead is it's actually underperformed in comparison to the long-term average in Brisbane. Now, over the last 50 years, Brisbane's done on average about 9% plus per year, but Crestmead's only done about 4.37% over the last 10 years. So there's a good indication there. Now, another thing that's happening is this gentrification, similar to Arana Hills, similar to a lot of areas in Brisbane right now. They are gentrifying and incomes are on the rise. The average household income in Crestmead is over $70,000 now. And the great thing is there's like 297 sales per year in Crestmead. So it's quite a big suburb, and you're always going to have a lot of supply and demand, and you're going to really have the pick of the bunch of the best properties that come onto the market in Crestmead.
Love Crestmead, bro. Another suburb that I love is actually on the northern beaches. It's called Margate. It's in the Moreton Bay Regional Council area, and the big news for that area is the Redcliffe Dolphins come into the NRL next year.
Might have to transition from the Sharkies in Cronulla up to the Redcliffe Dolphins. I've got more of an association to Redcliffe than I do Cronulla these days, so I might have to say sayonara to the Sharkies, eh?
Oh, mate, I'm sure if the Sharkies go for another run, you'll get back on the bandwagon with the rest of us. But what I love about the NRL team is not just the footy, but the administration staff, the marketing staff, the players, the trainers, the coaches, the families that are going to come up, plus the eyeballs on the area, because to be honest, a lot of people wouldn't even know where this area is in Australia. So another thing that I like about Margate is Simon and I both own property there, which is always a good sign that it's got potential, but the incomes are on the rise. every single street that you drive down has renovations. Most streets have houses that are being knocked over and rebuilt at the moment. Again, you can buy a really, really average knockdown sort of home below 700K. You can get a pretty decent home for between 7 and 900K. And there's beautiful brand new houses now selling for 1.4, 1.5 million bucks plus. Like everywhere else in Brisbane, vacancy rates are so low right now. And what I think one of the biggest draw cards is the beautiful beaches. Now, they don't have waves like Sydney, but they're much more like St Kilda and Melbourne. They're actually been completely redeveloped in recent years. A lot of cafes, restaurants, shops, bars going in. The area is improving every single time we go down there. Like every 3 months, it's just like driving through a brand new area. So much going on. I've got multiple friends that are grown up with my wife that earn 200, 300, 400,000 bucks per year. They're all relocating to the area because they don't want to come all the way up to the sunny coast with work in Brizzy. And you're just seeing more and more young families, established families moving into the area with very, very different incomes compared to the past. So I would be surprised personally. I already think it should be $1 million area today. Based on Sydney or Melbourne, it could easily be worth $2 million bucks in the future.
The next suburb I love is for those people that have a little bit lower budgets and can only afford a property valued around that $450,000 to $500,000 range. And that is a suburb that's only 20 kilometres from the Brisbane CBD called Goodna. It's actually in the Ipswich City Council, which is a very up-and-coming area. You've got the Royal Australian Air Force Base there going through some huge upgrades. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars out there. Brisbane actually anticipates that Ipswich CBD will sort of be the second satellite CBD within the city, which is going to be an amazing thing. You've got good universities out there. You've got good school districts out there. You've got very passionate homeowners out there and people that are very proud to live within that region. It really oozes that Queensland feel out there. You've got sort of where the country meets the city, and you've got, you know, a good variety of nice slab on ground brick and tile homes, but also some of those older Queenslander style properties as well, which are absolutely beautiful. But one of the coolest things about Goodna is it doesn't seem to be showing signs of any downturn at the moment. It is still charging ahead really strong. It's a very high demand market according to realestate.com right now. When we're negotiating on deals out there right now, it is still very, very competitive. And when it comes to the rental market, it is extremely hot out there right now, and rents are increasing quite rapidly. CBA actually expects rents to go up somewhere between $100 to $200 per week out there in the next couple of years, which is going to put this area with an amazing rental yield, but also just being so bloody close to the CBD, you're going to get that long-term capital growth as well. So Goodna is an absolute goldmine right now.
Two more of my favourite suburbs at the moment are down there on the southeastern side of the city on the beaches down there. They're just a quick stone's throw from Stradbroke Island to get to the CBD from these areas. And the areas I'm talking about are Cleveland and Victoria Point down there on the Redland Bay Council. You're looking at about 35 to 40 minute drive door to door. And the Gold Coast is just down the road from there as well. Now, this area on paper looks honestly better than anywhere on the east coast of Australia to me. Had massive long-term history of performance, like doubling every 7 to 8 years for basically their history. But in the last 10 years, they've really underperformed because everybody was looking on that north side up near Margate. People earn very, very big money on average down there. The houses are beautiful, brick, tile, slab on ground. There's a huge development coming into Cleveland shortly, which will be a $1.6 billion redevelopment of the harbour, luxury cafes, restaurants, living, dining. And then down the road in Redland Bay, there's a redevelopment of about 3 kilometres of the beach over the next 15 years. Another $1.4 billion redevelopment. Another one of the things is the school districts, and that's what's bringing people into the area with money at the moment. The number one school in all of Brisbane at the moment, ranking-wise, is Omniston College. That is literally right next to Cleveland. Cleveland also has a train station. It's going to get a massive benefit from the Brisbane Olympic Games as well. I think The rent returns there versus the house prices are exceptional. You can probably get in with basement buying at the moment for between $700 and $750 to be walking distance to the beach, with homes in the area selling right up to the $2 million mark.
One of the things that I love about the Redland Bay Council area is you get nice big blocks of land down there as well, and nice wide streets, very leafy, very family friendly, which is great. But recently, Anastasia Palaszczuk came out and said that you can now build and rent out granny flats separately, and this area of Queensland, this area of Brisbane, really lends well to that with the super low vacancy rates, with the very high rental yields at the moment, and obviously with those big block sizes, sometimes it makes it a bit easier to build your granny flat in the backyard if you want a bit more cash flow too.
It's so true. Like, you could probably go out and buy a $750,000 house at the moment that rents for very close to $700 a week. Go build your 200K granny flat in the back that will rent for another $400 to $450 a week. The yields to be that close to the beach and that close to the city, I really do feel like it's a St Kilda or a Cronulla Beach or Manly Beach in Sydney play, but you're buying it 15 years ago.
Now, the last suburb that we love, we have to mention, and this is Brighton on the north side of Brisbane, also a Bayside suburb as well. Now, we have talked a lot about some of these Bayside suburbs in Brisbane, and that's because we think they're significantly undervalued right now in comparison to other areas of Australia. Now, Brighton's only 19 kilometres from the Brisbane CBD, but it would literally only take you about 25 minutes to drive into the CBD, about 15 minutes to the airport, and it's on the beach, so it's a very central location there as well. Now, right now, the average house is selling for around $880,000, but once again, if you want those higher quality properties on the nice, quiet, family-friendly streets, and on the bigger blocks of land, you may have to spend a little bit more than that. So certainly more of what we would consider a blue chip suburb. What you've got just around the corner from Brighton as well is the Sandgate Village, which has beautiful restaurants, cafes, bars, beautiful lifestyle district. There's a lot of high income earners that are really congregating in this particular area of Brisbane at the moment. One of the most sought after regions if you want those beachside suburbs and if you do have that higher budget. And the good thing about these areas is the difference between owner occupiers to renters is quite significant. There is so many more owner occupiers that live in the area and that are very house proud. And what you're seeing is similar to Margate, where people are renovating homes, they're knocking down and rebuilding homes at the moment, which is really going to change the feel of the type of properties in these locations as well. So I think Brighton, as of today, is hugely undervalued and has a hell of a lot of potential in the long-term future.
We hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. Whether you've got a $500K budget or $1 million, Brisbane is littered with great value buying and great value properties at the moment. The key difference between Brisbane outside of the coming Olympic Games in 2032 is the fact that it hasn't gone through the crazy run that Sydney, Melbourne, Geelong, Wollongong, and all of those big markets in Australia have it all. Some of these suburbs are literally cents in the dollar in comparison at the moment. We're super excited about it longer term. For those of you interested in buying in Brisbane over the next 12 months, especially while we can get you guys a little bit of a discount at the moment because of the current market conditions, we would love to offer you a one-on-one strategy session. Just jump over to www.pumpedonproperty.com and we can talk about where you are today, where you would like to be longer term. We can talk about the current state of the market, the best suburbs in Brisbane for your budget, and then you can take that and go and smash it on your own, or maybe you can become one of the small number of clients that we work with each month. But either way, you're going to hear more and more about Brisbane as we continue to move through this cycle towards the Olympic Games. I think it was between 1997 and 2003, house prices in Sydney around the Olympic Games went up 97%. The last thing you want to be doing is to be buying the year before the Olympic Games or the year after the Olympic Games. You really want to make the money on the upside before all of the speculation, the jobs, and the crazy comes. So we wish you all the best either way, and thanks for watching this video.
Woo! That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Getting cool, bro. Yeah. Oh, sweaty. So sweaty. Oh, that's good. Look at that. So nice, eh? Oh.